Hello everyone, my name is Serafi and I'm happy to meet you all, and today we are going to be playing Sea Serpents. Sea Serpents is a fun new deck that came out with the new Chemicalized Burn box. It's basically entirely in the box, and that's fun. The skill is really good, and I think you guys will really enjoy this deck, so let's get into it. The skill is called Territory of the Sea Serpent King. Can be activated if all of the monsters in your constructed deck are water attribute monsters, and all of the monsters except level 2 and 4 are sea serpents. Make the original attack of one face-up level 7 or higher monster on your field become 2900 until the end of the turn. If there is no card in your field zone, you can also set Yumi from your deck or graveyard to your field zone once per duel. Now, Yumi is a field spell that says, while this card is in the zone, face up Fish, Sea Serpent, Thunder, and Aqua monsters on the field gain 200 attack and defense points, and face up Machine and Pyro monsters on the field lose 200 attack and defense points. So that actually hits a lot of decks. The new Pyro deck is Pyro, of course. Then you got Cyber Dragons for machines. You got Join Tech for machines. You got there are some machines in Materion. And then you can also play Big Yumi if you want to, and Big Yumi makes all non-water monsters lose 300 attack and defense points, which can throw off a lot of decks. So there are a lot of skills that can only be activated if you have a monster with a specific type and attack points. Like, for example, the Cyber Dragon skill can only be activated if you have a monster with exactly 2100 or 2400 attack points. So if you activate the Big Yumi and your opponent summons Cyber Dragon, it only has 1800 attack points. They can't use the skill. And the same way, if you activate regular Yumi and they summon the level 8s, it's got 2200 attack points, not 2400 attack points. So it can't use the skill either. So it's really interesting the way that these attack down effects work with skills. For the main deck, we are playing Sea Dragon Grand Guinness at 3. This is a limit 3, 800 level 8 water sea serpent with 2500 attack and 1800 defense. During the turn, you normal summon this card and inflict damage to your opponent equals to the number of spells or traps they control times 300. Really good. Obviously, if you summon this going first, it's just a 2500 attack beater, but that's usually good enough with the Yumi. So yeah, it'll work just fine. Then we have Head Bad Catch a Lot. This is the best card in the deck by far. Level 7 Sea Serpent with 2500 attack and 1200 defense. Send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. One face-up monster on your opponent's field loses 500 attack points. And if you have a face-up Yumi or Big Yumi on your field, you also burn your opponent for 500. Very, very powerful effect. If you are beating into a monster with this effect, then you are essentially increasing the amount of damage you can deal by 1000, while also, if the monster is weaker, like if it was out of range, then you get to put it in range. So the skill puts Catch-a-Lot's original attack points at 2900. That means that they will be 3,100 at, or I think it's 2900. Is 2900 or 2700? Yeah, 2900. So yeah, it makes them 2900, and then if you have Yumi, then that goes up to 3100 attack points, and then you're lowering your opponent's attack points by 500. There's only one monster in the game that has enough attack points to withstand that. Oh, I guess there's two. There's Yggdrago and there's Cyber End Dragon, but this actually lets you beat over maximum monsters. So if you face, or if you're facing the other one, the machine one. If you're facing Yuga's maximum monster, whose name I forget, then it has 3,500 attack points. You lower the attack points to 3,000. Headback Catch-a-Lot has 3,100 attack points because of Yumi, and you beat over it. Oh, and it also loses 200 more attack points from the field spell because it's a machine. So, cool. Yeah. Great card. Play it at 3. Sea Dragon Klendros, level 3, 1000 attack, 300 defense. If your opponent has a monster on the field, place a Sea Serpent, Grand Guinness, or a Grand Extreme from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck. Special summon a Fish or Sea Serpent monster from your hand. You can only attack with water attribute monsters this turn. Cool. Light Dolphin. This is a level 2 water Sea Serpent monster with 500 attack points and 1000 defense points. If you have Yumi or Big Yumi on your field and you have a Fish, Sea Serpent, Thunder, or Aqua normal monster on your field, you can draw one card. That is essentially the same thing as the discard a fish cards, discard fish, draw card for there's like an insect version, there's a machine version. There are these monsters that say discard a monster of my type, draw a card. This card does not require you to discard a card, though. It just says you have to summon the card instead, but only if you have the field spell. So you can consider like the field spell to be like a discard, except that it's on the field. So yeah, it's really cool. It's interesting to have like a genuine +1 in this game, especially since it's a soft once per turn. So yeah, I think that this will be one of the better cards in the deck. I enjoy playing it. It always gives me extra extension, which I need, and so yeah, played at 3. Then to enable Light Dolphin, you need to play both Yosbe and Takaremanos, who are just level 4 Aqua and Sea Serpent monsters with 1500 attack points. Next up, we have Grand Extreme. This card is limited to 1. Special summon a fish or Sea Serpent monster from your hand to your field, then shuffle up to 5 monsters from your opponent's graveyard into the deck. Excellent. You get a free special summon, which means that you don't have to tribute for either one of these monsters, and then you can potentially ruin like a pyro or machine effect, like shuffle all the Cyber Dragons from your opponent's graveyard back into their deck so they can't use any of their special summons from the graveyard effects. Pretty good. Pot of Greed, standard. Clashing Twin Tides, this is just more pot of greed. Reveal 1 level 7 or higher fish or sea serpent monster in your hand, shuffle into the deck to draw 2 cards. Good. This is a good card to play going first, so that you can make sure that you don't like overextend on the board and maybe you draw some traps or something. 3 copies of Stream of Elimination. If you have a face-up Sea Serpent monster on the field, destroy a spell or trap on the field. Standard. Big Yumi, you can only activate this if you have 3 face-up water attribute monsters on the field. Wild cards on the field, non-water attribute monsters lose 300 attack and defense points. It's up to you whether you play Yumi or Big Yumi. I like Big Yumi more because I feel like while Yumi is really good because it buffs my monsters, I just want to debuff my opponent's monsters. So yeah, I like Big Yumi. Negated attack and buffered slime, which is when an opponent's monster declares an attack, middle of the top card of your deck, you take no damage, and then if you have 3,000 or more attack life points, you take 2,000 damage as an effect. Okay. So the deck is all about summoning your head bad, catch a lot, and just beating your opponent down. Let's take a look at some replays. Alright, so we're going second against the new Chemicalized Roar deck. They'll start by summoning Dr. Redrobe, Gumlari, and Flame Ruler. Then they tribute Flame Ruler to just normal summon Chromo to Graphagus without 1 tribute, and set 1. You can't activate the skill on turn 1, so that's why they're passing. Our turn, we normal summon our Sea Dragon Klendros, and we activate Stream of Elimination immediately to pop the back row. Now we can normal summon again, and then tribute 2 in order to summon our Sea Dragon King Granganus. Now, of course, since we destroyed our opponent's back row, that means that we can't use Sea Dragon Granganus' effect to burn our opponent for 300. But, I mean, like, there's always a possibility that someone's playing something stupid like Trap Hole, so I feel like Stream of Elimination is more important than dealing 300 damage to your opponent. Deal 800, pass. The opponent draws 5, they activate Tribute to the Doomed, and they're going to summon Nitro Hand to burn us, Tribute again, and attack directly for 22 and 13. So even though we don't have any monsters on the field, our field spell is reducing the amount of damage we're taking every hit. So we take 400 less damage, we're also dealing more damage. So we summon Klendros. Klendros' effect, we return the Granganus to special summon Headback Catch-a-Lot from our hand without tributing. Then we normal summon another Klendros. Catch-a-Lot's effect activates, we mill negate attack, that's not good. Reduce the attack points of his Magmax Mantle Veda by 500, and then we deal 500 damage. Now, we have 2 big Yumis in our hand, that's a brick, so we're going to go ahead and just activate them. And that means that we can't beat over everything this battle phase, so we activate 2 big Yumis, lower the attack points of his monsters by 300, and beat over. He summons a normal monster, then he plays Fatal Roar, so he mills, and he gets his Flame Ruler back. Normal summon Flame Ruler and tribute it for Chromatographus again. Activate Chemicalized Red, so it gains 300 attack points and can't be destroyed by traps. Activate Scale of Flames. Lower my monster's attack points by 500 and raise his monster's attack points by 500. Beat over, beat over, beat over. We're down to 700. It's our turn. Alright, we activate Grand Extreme. So now we get to special summon a monster from our hand, which is going to be our Headback Catch-a-Lot. And then we're going to shuffle 5 monsters from the graveyard back into the deck so that he can't use his burn effects as easily. Then we activate Stream of Elimination, pop the spell card. Normal summon twice, tribute for a second, head back, catch a lot, mill. Reduce the attack points of his monster by 500. Mill, reduce the attack points of his monster by 500. Lower his life points by 1,000. Activate the skill, raise the monster's attack points, and then beat over it for game. There you go. So head back, catch a lot, especially when it can combine to bully the same monster. Lower their attack points by 1,000, burn the opponent for 1,000, then use the skill to set yourself to 2,900 and beat over. You can get a large chunk of damage, even against a big board. I didn't have to beat my opponent, I just had to kill him. So that is the theme of this deck. My name is Serafi, and I was thrilled to have all of you with me.